So, welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today we're joined by David Berker, CEO of Sonorex Energy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Before we dive in, could you give a quick overview of what Sonorex Energy does?
Well, Sonorex Energy was formed some years ago as an oil and gas onshore UK exploration company. And over the years, we have, through shooting seismic, through interpreting the seismic and taking satellite imagery of gravity and magnetic data, we have established that we have a very, very strong case for a carbon storage project, CO2 storage project, and this is our main thrust at the moment. We're working in South Wales, and we're close to industry there, and South Wales is the UK's second biggest emitter of CO2 emissions.
Okay,
So this is a storage project.
Yeah, right. That's fascinating. And what inspired you to create Sonorex Energy? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Well, the geology of the Bristol Channel Basin and South Wales, clearly, the more we investigated, clearly it showed it had suitable rock formations to be gas or oil producing. And with these are the very same rock formations that can be used for CO2 storage.
Okay. And what was your background before starting this venture?
Oh, well, many, many years of running businesses, mainly small businesses, and setting them up, charities. I've set up charities still running. I'm trustee of a charity, and also particularly property development.
Okay, I see. So let's go back to when you first started. What major challenges or gaps did you see in the market that made you think this needs to be solved?
Well, energy and cheap local energy is badly needed in the UK at this time. And it seemed a very attractive prospect to drill and produce hydrocarbons, which will be greatly needed, even though they're greatly increasing the electrical network in the grid in this country. Hydrocarbons will be needed.
Okay.
And we began to realize that CO2 storage would be also extremely profitable and of great benefit to industry in South Wales.
Right. And I have a curiosity by then. So what unique challenges have you encountered in the UK carbon capture landscape compared to other markets?
What are the challenges?
Yeah.
Well, the challenges are that it's in this country, it's in the UK, it's in its infancy. It's at the beginning of something, but what we're doing is extremely timely, perfectly located near to industry, and of the moment. It is something that people are now seeking to invest in.
Okay. And how would you compare the maturity of carbon capture technology between Europe and the UAE?
I have no knowledge of the UAE and Europe with the carbon capture. I'm quite sure the technology is available, and I think Arca, the Norwegian firm, I think is involved in this. And one of our board members, Professor Andrew Barron, has already been involved in CO2 sequestration in America, in Pennsylvania.
Okay. That's interesting. And could you elaborate on why the existing solution weren't meeting these needs?
Well, South Wales has no other plan. Well, it has plans to transport CO2 emissions by ship and by pipeline, but these are many, many years away. We are working onshore, and this would be underground sequestration, and it would be much cheaper and more immediate, and cutting out a lot of the transport.
Okay, I see. And for example, what was the breaking point that made you decide to tackle this problem?
I think the need, it's obvious that we need to reduce, this country needs to reduce its carbon emissions from industry. The government has been pointing us in that direction. They've set aside huge sums of money, many billions, to help and invest and encourage these projects. And I think that was a turning point.
Okay, I see. So walk us through how Sonorex Energy addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
I think what we're doing is much quicker to reach outcomes and solve solutions, and is very close to the emitting industries. We're based in South Wales, near Newport.
Okay. So I have a better question. And what's been your experience navigating both local and national funding structures?
Do you mean the governmental organizations?
Yeah.
Well, I think the government, we work well with both local and national governments. They know these solutions are needed, and it's been a good experience. Everything takes time, of course. Things are very slow with dealing with government departments, but we are experienced and are used to that.
Okay, I see. And for example, when you talk to potential clients, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
I don't think they do have a misconception. I think they are slow to respond because of the huge investment needed to install equipment on their industrial flues and on the plant, on their own plant. I mean, this is a big thing to actually achieve successfully.
Okay.
But you have to
Also,
separate the CO2 from other emissions.
okay.
In a power station, there are other emissions other than CO2, and it has to be separated out. This is costly equipment.
Okay, that's interesting. And also, could you share a specific success story of a client who saw significant results using your solution?
There aren't any in South Wales at all. I don't think this has been achieved successfully in onshore United Kingdom yet, but it has been successfully carried out, I'm sure, into wells in the North Sea.
Okay.
I mean, the process is not different, not very different to using CO2 to energize gas wells or oil wells. It's not greatly different. It's pumping something into the pores, pumping CO2 into the pore spaces in the rocks. It's not a complicated procedure. It's been achieved all over the world in different forms, but now we're concentrating on this CO2 sequestration rather than just re-energizing oil and gas wells.
Okay. And which key trends in carbon capture storage excite you most right now?
Which trend?
Yeah.
Onshore, close to industry. Millions of tons. South Wales emits 16 million tons and per annum of CO2. Now, if that's to be stored, obviously Sonorex couldn't store all of that in 1 year, but if we could reduce their emissions by 10%.
Okay.
Be a huge contribution.
Okay, I see. And for example, how are these trends affecting how businesses operate in your space? These opportunities.
Well, I think businesses will be pressured by government to deal with their emissions. And I think this is gradually happening, and they will either have to purchase carbon credits or they will have to resolve the emissions directly by having them stored. I think businesses are very conscious of the costs involved, and it will take time for the market to develop.
Okay. And I have a curiosity which is more technical one. So, what technological breakthroughs do you believe would be game changing for the industry?
What technology? I think the biggest, the huge cost of installing equipment on industrial plants, I think if that could be reduced, but that is not part of our business to research that. I think ARCA would be a company, and there are a number of companies. I think Schlumberger are working on this. But if they could reduce the capital costs, I think that would be a big game changer. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And what do you think, in your opinion, most business owners are getting wrong when they're trying to address this specific problem?
I don't think they are getting anything wrong. I think they naturally are concerned as to how they're going to cope with the demands of government on these matters. And I think they will be, I think the biggest emitters will be, shall we say, I wouldn't say forced, but I think they will be, they will have to deal, they will really have to deal with their emissions, and they will be coming to companies such as ours for help.
Okay. And do you have any advice would you give to business owners who want to stay ahead of these changes?
Well, I think to start talking to companies like mine and seeing how they can address their own problems with the help of companies such as mine.
Okay, that's awesome. And as you wrap up, what's next for Sonorex Energy? Any exciting developments on the horizon?
Well, no, we would obviously we'd like to scale the project up. I think that is the most exciting thing. We're perfectly placed to carry this out now, and we need to crack on with it. And it's a question of investment, and then to scale the project up as we move ahead successfully, step by step. What the initiative for 2025 is to raise sufficient investment to move the project forward. For our
Okay.
company. Yeah.
Okay. And for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with Sonorex Energy, what's the best way to get in touch?
By email, I think is probably best.
Okay. And could you give us your email to share
Yes.
for our audience?
david.barker@sonorexenergy.com.
Perfect.
SONOREX energy, that's one word, .com.
Perfect. So thanks for sharing those insights about you, about your company, and about the whole story. And thank you for this amazing podcast session.
Well, thank you, Alex, and thank you for your patience with the whole matter and
Yeah.
making it easy in the end.
Yeah. So see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Alex. Bye now.